Hello, I'm Anthony. Welcome to another guitar setup video. We're going to be talking about amp emulations today. I've got my project here in Cubase where I throw guitar licks. Everything up to this point here was actually manually and intentionally recorded for the purpose of doing comparisons, demonstrations, whatever. In recent weeks, however, I've been taking guitar lines from pieces of music that I've actually been writing, whether they were practice sessions or fully fledged songs. So this one that I've got highlighted here, for instance, is a guitar line that I wrote when I was doing some practice over C Dorian. So I just basically grabbed it and threw it in. Everything from this point onwards, and you can see a big clue in this sends automation lane down here, is that they're now fixed to the beats. So I can have Groove Agent running in the background, and any of these things you can see me changing the tempo, whatever the song tempo happened to be that this lick has come from. I basically just put a tempo marker in at that point so Groove Agent can keep up with this stuff. These two instances of Insight over here are before and after Amplitube. So that's just allowing me to compare the volume differences and see what the amps are doing. Now, I've given up trying to make sure those two numbers are absolutely identical. I'm allowing Amplitube to have a little bit of headroom. Typically anywhere between 2 and 4 dB, and the reason it's a range is because it depends entirely what the guitar part is. Different kinds of guitar licks are going to generate different loudness levels, so I've stopped worrying about having this absolutely perfect equality. I'm just allowing Amplitube to have a little bit of headroom, no more than 4 dB, so it's never going to be clipping anything, it's not causing any issues. It just gives me a little bit more latitude with the stuff that I'm doing. If you want to download a copy of this project with all of these audio files and all of my Amplitube settings, I make it available to my patrons and YouTube channel members. Check the links below. Right, let's get on with it. So here we've got 6 different amp emulations. There are 8 presets there, but you can ignore default because it's the same as British Blue Tube. That's my current default. And Amplus Board is an absolutely static, completely empty preset that I can just send stuff through if I want to have Amplitube in the chain. So there's 6 working presets. I'm going to get one going. The 53 Basement is the dirtiest of the 6 presets. So I'm just going to let it cycle around on this 85 BPM loop. And you can see there's about 3 dB difference between in and out. Very recently, this is only in the last couple of days, I've had the splitter coming out of the amp and it's sending to 2 different cabs. I'm just basically having a bit of a play at the moment. Nothing is ever written in stone anymore. I've given up making absolute statements. And at the moment, I'm experimenting with having a 4x12 cab on a completely separate feed. So all of the amp emulations that we're going to look at today are sending to 2 cabs. Each cab has 2 mics on, and then they're all mixing together. So there's hard pans left and right for the 2 cabinets. So each of those 2 microphones attached to, let's say, the left-hand cabinet, they're both going to the left-hand channel of the stereo mix. I stumbled across this completely by accident. I just happened to accidentally click on the splitter button. I think it defaulted to a 4x12 Marshall cab, and whatever preset I had running at the time, I thought, wow, that sounds good. So I'm just having a bit of a play with this stereo cab setup at the moment, and it's sounding really good. So like I say, we've got this Basement, and I've got it set a little bit dirty. Now what I'm going to do is very quickly go through each of the 6 amp emulations, just to give you a general idea of what each of them sounds like. This is my personal favourite at the moment. It's quite a workhorse. It works in lots of different environments. So if I'm basically jamming or practicing, I'm tending to use this one. But sometimes your ears get tired. You know those days when you turn it on and the thing that sounded amazing yesterday just doesn't sound any good anymore. What I'm discovering is that these 6 pretty stock presets that I've got, and I've level normalized them all so that they're in this 2 to 4 dB range, as I say. I'm not attempting to make them sound the same. In fact, I'm explicitly not trying to make them all sound the same. I've just got 6 interesting, nice to my ears amp emulations that on any given day one of them pokes its head above the clouds and says, hey, you know, I sound good today. It's totally random. This is the cleanest of the 6. So if I had something that I really wanted to be quite clean, then this could be a go-to. The other nice clean one is this Silver 12. So between these 6 different amp emulations, I'm finding workhorses, stuff that works well in a clean environment, stuff that's working well in a little bit more of a grungy environment, chord playing, I might have a different feel to solos, and on any given day, it's absolutely random as to which one I'll pick. So if I select quite a few of these and just get that going in the background. You can hear each of the different characters of the amps. Now each of them is fundamentally dry. In other words, apart from the amp split into 2 cabs and into the stereo mixer, none of them have got any room whatsoever, room effect. I'm leaving that to the outboard effects. Some of them might have some stomp boxes in the chain, but they're all disabled. As a saved preset, all of the stomp boxes and inserts are muted, and as you can hear, they're all pretty clean. This sends track is because all of the stuff before this line was recorded in manually, so the tempos are all over the place. I just decided I didn't want delay sat on stuff that wasn't recorded to a click track. Sometimes the way out just wasn't working, so I've kept all of that clean, and then when we get into the time controlled stuff, all of this over here, then I can bring the delay in. This first event is incredibly useful when I'm dialing delay in, because I really get to hear it. And speaking of delay, my default at the moment is the Memory Man setting in the Echo Boy. Sound toys are pretty much where it's at with delay. Echo Boy is just absolutely wonderful. Echo Boy Junior is just a different interface. It's just a cleaner interface. It's not inferior in any way. And the 2 settings that I'm tending to go for are the Memory Man and the Echoplex. The Echoplex is brighter. I'll A/B between those 2. You hear the repeats much brighter. Both sounds are great, regularly toggling between them. You see I've got some low cut and high cut as well. That's just a top tip if you're dialing in delay. Don't leave the repeats as bright as the original sound. In my opinion, it almost always sounds better if you low cut and high cut your delay settings. So I've got a few completely dedicated delay lines here where I can really concentrate on the delay sounds. Thing that I've been playing a lot with recently, this is great fun, is I'm picking 2 random distortion or overdrive units. So basically out of whatever's available, primarily in the distortion section, but there is a fuzz section down below as well. I literally pick 2 completely random pedals. This happens to be the last 2 I was playing with. Even the orientation of them is random. Throw them in, turn them on, and see what you've got. And some of the combinations between them just turn out to be really interesting. You hear the delay cranking up then, that's the the send cranking up to the next BPM level, so we're at 90 and you hear that as the delay catches up. I was also having a bit of a play with this 76 compressor, which didn't actually make the grade. I wasn't able to make it sound good in this particular context, so I took it back out again. So I've got way out of hand with my levels here. Every time you press stop, by the way, the insight meters reset, so you basically get a new count. You can just basically stop very quickly and set it going again. A bit more sensible. So this makes every practice session just really interesting. It's almost kind of exciting. Think, what two combinations am I going to get today? I did have an embarrassingly nerdy moment where I thought I need to assign each one of the distortion pedals a number and then roll some dice. And, you know, but it's like, dude, just have a word with yourself. Drag them in randomly. It's just as easy. Blimey. The only problem with doing it this way is that I now can't easily cycle between the amplifiers, because the moment I choose one of these presets, it's going to throw, you know, the other effects away behind. So you are basically committing to an amp emulation for that particular session, but that's absolutely fine. You know, there's plenty to play with. So I suppose the fundamental philosophy at the moment is do everything I possibly can to avoid ending up in a pigeonhole where I say, this is the amp I'm going to use for all time. These are the cabs that I'm going to attach to that amplifier for all time. This secondary cabinet over here is utterly random. I literally just went into the 4x12 section and just cycled through them until I heard something that sounded half decent, thought that'll do, and moved on to the next one. And each of the 6 emulations has got a different 4x12 cab. So I'm just playing, I'm just having fun, and I'm tending to find that whatever the sound is, this sound here right now, I can use that. You know, if I pick the guitar up and try to use that sound, or this sound, I'll play something that sounds good with that overdrive sound. So I'm tailoring the music to my effect. This is a really liberating thing of having decided to just not worry about trying to copy other people's sounds. That's a thing. I really understand how that's enticing and people want to replicate, you know, the perfect Jimmy Page sound or Gilmour sound or Clapton sound. Completely fine, you know, respect. But particularly in a digital environment, it's just so incredibly hard. A lot of these guys had sound absolutely bouncing off the walls. Gilmour famously plays so loud, it was kind of painful to be in the room. So it's just a different dynamic. I'm playing in headphones here. It's completely ridiculous to presume that I can generate that kind of thing. So I'm saying, right, well, here are my sounds. Throw a couple of random plugins into this thing, see what it sounds like. But it takes seconds to get it under some sort of control. And then not many more seconds to get to a point where I think that's a usable sound. Off we go. And then pick up the guitar and just start playing. It's so liberating. I'm having so much fun. And obviously, while I've been talking to you, I've been taking my eye completely off the loudness level. That's always an important thing. Make sure that whatever you're doing isn't clipping, because if you're just inspired and you press record, you don't want a load of digital clipping in your signal. It's just going to sound rubbish. So the only thing that I am very disciplined with is making sure that my true peak never goes above 0. Other than that, all bets are off. Okay, it's time to get my D20s out and roll up a couple of new presets. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like if you did. I'll see you for the next one. Thanks a lot.